Mocked after divorce, she marries complete stranger. Shocking discovery, he's a tech billionaire CEO. Let me tell you about Ava Summers, a woman who thought her life story was already written. After a humiliating divorce left her confidence shattered and her reputation in tatters, she moved to a new city to escape the whispers and judgment. Working at a small cafe, she never expected that spilling coffee on a quiet, unassuming customer would change everything. Their chance encounter led to an unconventional proposal, a marriage of convenience that seemed simple enough. But what Ava didn't know was that her new husband was hiding a secret that would turn her world upside down. Before I continue Ava's extraordinary journey, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a moment that completely changed your path? Maybe it was a chance meeting, a sudden loss, or a bold decision that others criticized. How did that moment transform you? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. Your experiences matter, and they might inspire someone else watching this video who's going through their own difficult time. If you're enjoying this introduction to Ava's story, please hit that like button to help more people discover it. And if you're new here, welcome to Love and Twilights. We share powerful stories of transformation, unexpected love, and life's surprising journeys. Subscribe to join our storytelling family and never miss a new upload. Now, let's return to Ava and discover how her life changed forever when she learned the truth about the stranger she married. Ava Summers never imagined she'd become the town's most discussed failure. For 8 years, she had been Mrs. Ryan Hamilton, half of what everyone called the perfect couple, in their small Midwestern community of Pine Creek. Their wedding had been featured in the local newspaper. Their home on Maple Street was showcased in the annual Christmas tour, and their smiling faces appeared at every community fundraiser. You two are just meant to be, people would say, and Ava believed it too. Ryan worked at his family's insurance company while Ava managed a boutique downtown, selling other people's creations while sketching her own designs at night. She dreamed of launching an eco-friendly clothing line, combining her artistic talent with her passion for sustainability. One day, Ryan would say whenever she mentioned her ambitions, his smile not quite reaching his eyes, "But right now, we need stability. Dreams don't pay the mortgage." So Ava filed her sketches away in color-coded folders and focused on being the perfect wife. She hosted dinner parties where Ryan could network with potential clients. She volunteered for committees Ryan's mother chaired. She smiled through endless family gatherings where her mother-in-law Martha reminded everyone how Ryan could have married a doctor's daughter from Springfield. The cracks in their marriage formed slowly. Small disagreements about finances, silent dinners, separate vacations, Ryan working later and later, Ava throwing herself into community projects to fill the growing emptiness. "I think we need to talk about us," Ava finally said one evening as Ryan checked his phone during dinner. He looked up, annoyed at the interruption. "There's nothing to talk about. We're fine." But they weren't fine, and deep down they both knew it. Ava discovered the truth on a Tuesday afternoon. She'd left work early with a migraine and found a forgotten earring between the cushions of their couch, an earring that wasn't hers. The discovery led to text messages, which led to emails, which led to the devastating truth. Ryan had been seeing Jessica Morris, a new agent at his family's firm, for over a year. When confronted, Ryan didn't deny it. Instead, he looked almost relieved. "I was going to tell you after the Wilson account closed," he said, as if scheduling his confession made it less devastating. "I've been unhappy for years, Ava. We both have. Jessica understands me in ways you never could." The divorce proceedings transformed Ava from respected community member to object of pity and ridicule. Ryan's family owned half the town, and they made sure everyone knew their version of events. That Ava had been cold, career-obsessed, unwilling to start a family. That Ryan had been patient until he couldn't be anymore. She just couldn't make him happy, Martha Hamilton told anyone who would listen at the salon. "Some women don't understand what it takes to keep a man satisfied." Former friends crossed the street to avoid talking to her. The boutique owner reduced her hours, claiming business was slow. Anonymous comments appeared on local Facebook groups. "Always knew she wasn't good enough for him," and "No wonder he looked elsewhere." The final humiliation came during the settlement hearing. Ryan's family lawyer portrayed Ava as financially irresponsible because of the money she'd spent on art supplies and design courses. "Your Honor, Mrs. Hamilton has demonstrated poor judgment with finances. My client has been the responsible party in this marriage." Ava left the courthouse with a pittance settlement, no home, and a reputation in shambles. That night, alone in a rented room above the hardware store, she made a decision. Pine Creek had taken enough from her. It was time to leave. Chicago's bustling streets felt like freedom after years in Pine Creek. Anonymous in the crowd, Ava could breathe again. Her tiny studio apartment in Wicker Park cost most of her settlement money, but it was worth every penny to be away from judging eyes and whispered comments. Finding work proved challenging. Her experience managing a small-town boutique didn't impress urban retailers. After weeks of rejections, she landed a job at the Daily Grind, a cozy cafe tucked between a bookstore and vintage clothing shop. No retail experience, but you're friendly and you can start tomorrow, said Maggie, the owner, a woman in her 50s with bright purple hair and kind eyes. 6 a.m. sharp. The morning rush waits for no one. Making lattes wasn't Ava's dream job, but it paid the rent. Between shifts, she explored the city, taking photos of interesting designs and sketching in parks. For the first time in years, she felt creative energy flowing again. "These are good," Maggie said one morning, glancing at sketches Ava had left on the break room table. "You should do something with them." Ava shrugged. "Maybe someday." "Someday is a dangerous word," Maggie warned. "It's where dreams go to die." Those words echoed in Ava's mind as she worked, saved, and slowly rebuilt her confidence. She enrolled in a night course on sustainable fashion at a community college. She created an Instagram account to share her sketches. She even started making simple items from recycled materials, selling a few pieces to Maggie and other cafe regulars. Small successes, but they were hers alone. 6 months into her new life, Ava still struggled with loneliness. Dating seemed impossible. Her confidence had been shattered, and every potential connection felt like an invitation to more heartbreak. Her tiny apartment often felt oppressive in its silence. "You should come to my book club," Maggie suggested. "Meet some new people." "I'm not ready," Ava replied. "Not yet." What she didn't say was that she feared being rejected again, feared being found wanting. In her darkest moments, she wondered if Martha Hamilton had been right. Maybe she was fundamentally unlovable. April brought rain showers and the Daily Grind's busiest season as tourists began visiting Chicago. Ava worked double shifts, grateful for the distraction and extra income. It was during one such chaotic morning that her life changed forever. The cafe was packed, the line stretching to the door. Ava moved with practiced efficiency between the espresso machine and counter, taking orders and making change. "Medium latte, extra shot," said a quiet voice. Ava looked up briefly, noting a man in his early 30s with glasses and casual clothes. Nothing remarkable except perhaps his thoughtful eyes. She nodded, turned to the espresso machine, and promptly knocked over a freshly made drink. Hot coffee splashed across the counter, narrowly missing customers but thoroughly soaking order tickets and her apron. "I'm so sorry," she gasped, grabbing a towel. The morning rush was the worst time for mistakes. "No harm done," said the man with the glasses, handing her several napkins from the dispenser. "Accidents happen." Ava frantically wiped at the mess, aware of impatient customers and Maggie's raised eyebrows from across the cafe. "Your order will be right up," she promised. "Take your time," he said, stepping aside to let others order. "I'm not in a rush." 10 minutes later, when the immediate crisis had passed, Ava made his latte with an extra shot, plus another shot on the house as an apology. She brought it to where he sat in the corner with a laptop. "I added an extra espresso shot," she explained. "Thanks for being patient about the spill." He looked up from his screen, and Ava was struck by the warmth in his smile. Not the practiced charm Ryan had used on clients, but something genuine. "Thank you," he said. "I'm Alex, by the way." "Ava," she replied, then hurried back to work, dismissing the brief connection. But Alex returned the next day, and the day after, always polite, always choosing the same corner table, always ordering the same latte. He'd work for hours on his laptop, occasionally making notes in a journal. Sometimes their eyes would meet briefly when she delivered his drink, and they'd exchange smiles that grew less awkward with each passing day. A week after the spilled coffee incident, Ava was clearing tables when Alex closed his laptop and approached her. "I hope this isn't inappropriate," he said, "but I'm new to Chicago and don't know many people. Would you maybe want to grab dinner sometime? As friends," he added quickly. "I'm not. I just thought." His nervousness made her smile. "I'd like that," she heard herself say, surprising them both. They exchanged numbers, and as Alex left, Maggie appeared at Ava's side. Well, she said, grinning. "Looks like Coffee Guy finally worked up the courage. It's just dinner between friends." Ava insisted. Honey, I've been watching him watch you for a week. That man is interested in more than friendship. Ava shook her head, unwilling to believe. One dinner couldn't hurt, but she wouldn't let herself hope for more. Hope was dangerous. Hope led to disappointment. Little did she know that this simple dinner invitation would lead her into the most unexpected chapter of her life. One that would challenge everything she thought she knew about love, trust, and her own potential. Their first dinner together was at a small Italian restaurant tucked away on a side street. Ava arrived early, second-guessing her decision with every passing minute. The memory of Ryan's betrayal still stung, and the thought of opening herself to new hurt made her hands tremble as she arranged her napkin. When Alex appeared, his casual smile eased her anxiety. Unlike the polished businessman she'd grown accustomed to in Pine Creek, Alex wore a slightly wrinkled button-down and carried a worn messenger bag. There was something refreshingly authentic about his lack of pretense. I hope you haven't been waiting long, he said, sliding into the booth across from her. Just a few minutes, she replied, relaxing slightly. This is a nice place. The owner's from my hometown, Alex explained. Best carbonara outside of Rome, according to my very Italian grandmother. Conversation flowed more easily than Ava expected. They talked about Chicago neighborhoods, favorite books, and childhood memories. Alex spoke of growing up in Boston with parents who valued education above all else. Ava shared carefully edited stories of small-town life, omitting the painful details of her marriage and divorce. So what brings you to Chicago? She asked between bites of truly exceptional carbonara. A shadow crossed his face. A fresh start. My last job was complicated. I needed space to figure out what's next. I understand fresh starts, Ava said softly. His eyes met hers with unexpected intensity. I thought you might. By the time they split tiramisu for dessert, Ava found herself laughing genuinely for the first time in months. When Alex walked her to the train station, their goodbye was comfortable, like old friends rather than new acquaintances. I'd like to do this again, he said simply. Ava nodded. I would too. Over the following weeks, they met regularly, for coffee after her shifts, for weekend walks through city parks, for movie nights at independent theaters. Alex never pushed for more than friendship, which made Ava trust him more. He listened when she finally shared the truth about her divorce, offering neither judgment nor empty platitudes. People can be cruel when they feel threatened, he observed when she described the town's reaction. Your creativity intimidated them. Or maybe I really wasn't enough, she admitted, voicing her deepest fear. Alex's response was immediate and fierce. Don't ever think that. Someone else's failure to appreciate you doesn't diminish your worth. Those words stayed with her, a counterbalance to the voices of doubt that had followed her from Pine Creek. 3 months into their friendship, Alex mentioned a charity gala his former company was hosting. They still invite me to these things, he explained as they walked along the lakefront. Industry courtesy, I suppose. Will you go? Ava asked. He hesitated. I should make an appearance. Would you consider coming with me? The request surprised her. Their relationship had remained firmly in the friendship category, though Ava occasionally caught herself wondering about more. A black-tie technology gala? I don't exactly have gala attire in my closet, she laughed. I can help with that, he offered, then quickly added. Not in a creepy way. I just know some people who could assist. Curiosity won over caution. Okay, she agreed. But you'll have to tell me which fork to use. The week before the gala, a package arrived at Ava's apartment. A stunning emerald dress that fit perfectly, along with a simple note. This reminded me of your eyes. Maggie whistled when Ava showed her the dress at work. Coffee guy is full of surprises. That's designer, honey. It can't be, Ava protested, examining the label. How would he afford that on a freelancer's budget? Maybe he's not just a freelancer, Maggie suggested with raised eyebrows. The night of the gala, Alex picked her up in a sleek black car with a driver. Another surprise he explained away as a gift from an old colleague. As they approached the glittering venue, Ava felt increasingly out of place among the arriving guests in couture and diamonds. Everyone looks so important, she whispered to Alex as they climbed the steps. They just have good publicists, he replied with a wink. You're the most genuine person here. Inside, Ava was overwhelmed by crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, and technology displays showcasing innovations she couldn't begin to understand. Alex moved through the crowd with unexpected ease, greeting people with comfortable familiarity that contradicted his usual reserved demeanor. Alex Hayes, a tall woman in a sleek pantsuit, approached them. The prodigal son returns. The board has been asking about you. Just visiting Elaine, Alex replied smoothly. This is my friend, Ava Summers. Elaine's eyes assessed Ava with swift calculation. Friend? That's new for you. Before Alex could respond, a photographer approached. Mr. Hayes, could we get a photo for the company newsletter? Alex tensed beside her. Not tonight, thank you. But more people were noticing him now, conversations pausing as heads turned in their direction. A man with a press badge made his way toward them. Mr. Hayes, any comment on the merger rumors? Is that why you've returned? Alex's hand found the small of Ava's back, guiding her toward a side door. Time for some air, he murmured. On a deserted balcony overlooking the city lights, Ava confronted him. Who are you exactly? Those people weren't treating you like some random tech worker. Alex ran a hand through his hair, his composure slipping. It's complicated. Uncomplicated, she insisted. I used to be important in the industry. I stepped back for personal reasons. He looked genuinely distressed. I didn't want this attention. I'm sorry for dragging you into it. The door burst open as the reporter from earlier emerged. Recorder extended. Mr. Hayes, is your return to Chicago connected to the new acquisition? And who's your companion? Alex's response changed everything. This is my wife, Ava, he said firmly, taking her hand. And we're here strictly as guests, not for comment. The reporter looked startled but scribbled notes anyway. I wasn't aware you had married. When did this happen? Recently, Alex replied. Now if you'll excuse us. He led a stunned Ava back inside, whispering urgently, I'm so sorry. It just came out. I needed him to back off. You told him I'm your wife, she hissed. I panicked, he admitted. These people, they don't respect boundaries. If they think you're just a date, they'll harass you for information about me. Before Ava could process this explanation, they were surrounded by well-wishers offering congratulations on their marriage. Alex fielded the attention with practiced charm while Ava stood frozen beside him, her mind racing. By the time they escaped into the waiting car, her shock had hardened into anger. What was that? She demanded once the partition closed between them and the driver. I can explain, Alex began, looking genuinely contrite. Please do. What followed was the strangest conversation of Ava's life. Alex revealed that he wasn't just connected to the tech company, he had founded it. He'd stepped away from daily operations after a personal crisis but remained the majority shareholder. The press has been speculating about my absence. That reporter would have turned you into tomorrow's headline if he thought he could get information from you. So you invented a wife? It was impulsive and wrong, he admitted. But now that it's done, it might actually solve problems for both of us. Ava stared at him. What does that mean? A temporary arrangement, he explained. The company is at a crucial phase. Stability in leadership matters to investors. If they think I've settled down, it creates confidence. He hesitated. And you mentioned struggling financially while launching your design business. The implication hung between them. Are you suggesting we pretend to be married? For money. The words tasted bitter. For mutual benefit, he corrected. You get financial support for your business. I get privacy and stability perception. When things settle, we part as friends. Ava turned to look out the window, watching Chicago's lights blur past. The practical part of her recognized the opportunity. Financial freedom. A chance to pursue her dreams without struggling to pay rent. The emotional part recoiled at the dishonesty. I need time to think, she finally said. Of course, Alex replied. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it. 3 days later, after sleepless nights weighing her options, Ava agreed to Alex's proposal with conditions. Complete honesty between them going forward, a legal contract protecting both parties, and a clear exit timeline. Alex readily accepted. This doesn't mean I'm not still angry about how it happened, she clarified. Completely fair, he acknowledged. They were married the following week in a private civil ceremony with only Maggie as witness. Ava wore a simple white dress she designed herself, refusing Alex's offer to purchase something more elaborate. If we're doing this, we do it my way, she insisted. No more surprises. To maintain appearances, Ava moved into Alex's downtown penthouse apartment, a stunning space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan. She'd never seen such luxury up close. Smart home technology that anticipated needs, a kitchen designed by a famous chef, a dedicated art studio Alex had hastily arranged for her. The East Light is best for creative work, he explained awkwardly, showing her the space filled with high-quality supplies. Or so I've read. Their living arrangement was carefully platonic, separate bedrooms, clear boundaries. They developed a functional routine. Breakfast together before Alex left for his newly resumed role at the company. Dinner together most evenings to maintain consistency in their story. Public appearances at strategic events where they played the happy couple. To Ava's surprise, she found herself enjoying much of their arranged life. Alex respected her independence while providing genuine support for her business. He connected her with sustainable fabric suppliers, offered thoughtful feedback on designs, and never made her feel indebted despite the financial imbalance between them. Your talent is the valuable asset here, he often said. I'm just removing obstacles. For public consumption, they crafted a believable love story. Meeting at a cafe, true. A whirlwind romance, false. And a private wedding, technically true. They practiced small intimacies. His hand at her waist, her head on his shoulder, the synchronization of their movements that suggested familiarity. Sometimes, in unguarded moments, Ava caught herself forgetting it wasn't real, laughing at his dry observations during boring corporate functions, feeling a flutter when their fingers accidentally touched, seeking his opinion first when completing a new design. We've become good at this, she commented one night as they returned from a company dinner. At pretending? Alex asked, loosening his tie. At being partners, she clarified. I didn't expect that. He studied her face with an expression she couldn't interpret. Neither did I. For months into their arrangement, Ava launched her sustainable fashion brand, Greenthread. The response exceeded her wildest expectations. Eco-conscious boutiques placed orders. A fashion blogger with significant influence featured her work, and a small but dedicated customer base emerged. I can't believe this is happening, she told Alex, showing him the latest sales figures. At this rate, I might actually make this a viable business. I had no doubt, he said, his pride evident. Your designs deserve recognition. What Ava didn't mention was her growing suspicion that Alex had influenced her success. A major order had come from a store whose owner mentioned being old friends with your husband. The influential blogger had previously written about Alex's company innovations. Too many connections felt convenient rather than coincidental. Her suspicions deepened when she overheard Alex on a late-night phone call in his home office, discussing what sounded like a substantial investment in sustainable manufacturing. The funds need to move through normal channels, he was saying. Nothing traceable to me directly. When questioned the next morning, he explained it away as a privacy matter. Just some venture capital work, he said. Nothing important. Ava nodded, but doubt had taken root. For all their promised honesty, Alex remained selective about what he shared. He never brought her to his actual office. Business associates who visited always met in designated areas of the penthouse, never his private study. Most concerning, she discovered a secondary phone he used for certain calls. One evening, while Alex attended a board meeting, Ava found herself drawn to his study. She'd never violated their privacy agreement before, but mounting questions demanded answers. The room was immaculate, with minimal personal items. Nothing on the surfaces revealed anything beyond what she already knew. Just as she was about to leave, she noticed a folder that had slipped slightly beneath the desk. Inside were financial documents with Greenthread's name prominently featured, investment records, marketing strategies, retail partnerships. The amounts involved were staggering, far beyond the modest support Alex had claimed to provide. These weren't the actions of a supportive friend or even a fake husband. These were the calculated moves of someone with significant resources and influence, someone who had been orchestrating her success from the shadows. As Ava stared at the evidence of Alex's deception, the foundation of their carefully constructed arrangement began to fracture. Who exactly had she married? And what other secrets was Alexander Hayes keeping from her? Ava sat motionless at the kitchen island, the folder of financial documents spread before her. The sleek penthouse that had become her home now felt like an elaborate set for a performance she hadn't realized she was starring in. The evening skyline of Chicago glittered through floor-to-ceiling windows, indifferent to her crumbling world. When the elevator chimed Alex's arrival, she didn't look up. She heard his footsteps pause at the entrance to the kitchen, sensed his immediate understanding of what had happened. You went into my study, he said quietly. And you've been lying to me since the day we met, she replied, finally meeting his gaze. Who exactly are you, Alex? He loosened his tie, his usual composure faltering. It's still me, just more complicated than I let on. More complicated? Ava pushed the documents toward him. You've invested millions in my company through shell corporations. You've manipulated retail partnerships. You've practically bought my success. That's not. Don't tell me that's not what happened, she interrupted. It's all right here in black and white. You didn't just support my business. You engineered everything about it. Alex moved toward her, then stopped when she flinched away. I opened doors, yes, but the talent is all yours. The designs, the vision, those are yours alone. Who are you? She asked again. And don't give me half-truths this time. He exhaled slowly, resignation crossing his features. My full name is Alexander James Hayes. I founded Hayes Technologies 15 years ago. The company went public 8 years ago. Current market valuation is approximately $38 billion. The clinical way he delivered this information made it even more shocking. Ava had suspected he was wealthy, perhaps a high-level executive, but this, you're a billionaire, she stated flatly. Not just successful, not just well-connected. One of the richest people in the country. On paper, yes. And you've been pretending to be what? A regular guy down on his luck? A freelance consultant? Her voice rose with each question. Was anything you told me true? Almost everything, he insisted. My background, my family, how I started the company, all true. I just omitted the scale of its success. Why the deception? Why the fake marriage? Was I some kind of social experiment for you? Pain flashed across his face. No, never that. Then explain it to me, because from where I'm sitting, you used me. You created this entire scenario. The chance meeting at the cafe, the friendship, the marriage proposal, was any of it real? Alex moved to the window, gathering his thoughts. When he turned back, his carefully maintained facade had fallen away. 3 years ago, I was engaged to a woman named Claire. She was beautiful, intelligent, from a prominent family, the perfect match according to everyone. 2 weeks before our wedding, I overheard her on the phone with her sister, laughing about how she'd secured her billion-dollar ticket, and how she couldn't wait to renovate that boring man's life. Ava watched his expression darken with the memory. I confronted her. She didn't even deny it. Just switched tactics. Said she'd grown to care for me, that money wasn't the only reason she was marrying me. As if that should comfort me. He shook his head. I ended the engagement, but the experience, it changed me, made me question everyone's motives. So you decided to deceive others instead? Ava challenged. I stepped back from public life, handed day-to-day operations to my executive team. The press speculated about mental breakdowns, secret illnesses, corporate scandals. I let them talk while I tried to figure out who I was beyond the company, beyond the wealth. And then you met me, Ava said, beginning to understand. I came to your cafe by chance. The coffee spill was genuine. But after we talked, I was intrigued. You were struggling but determined, creative despite setbacks. When you told me about your divorce, how your community had turned against you, I saw someone who understood rejection, someone who might see past my bank account to the person underneath. So you lied to test me? I planned to tell you eventually, but each day it became harder to find the right moment. I feared losing the one person who liked me for myself, not for what I could provide. And our marriage? Was that really about company perception? Alex hesitated. Partially, but also, being with you felt right. The arrangement gave me a framework to be close to you without risking rejection if I revealed the truth. Ava stood, needing distance. You didn't trust me enough to let me make that choice. Instead, you manipulated everything. My business, my success, our relationship. How can I believe anything was genuine? Your talent is genuine, he said firmly. Your creativity, your kindness. I may have opened doors, but you walked through them on your own merit. I need to leave, she said suddenly, the penthouse walls closing in around her. I can't process this here. Where will you go? Does it matter? Our contract didn't specify that I had to report my whereabouts, just maintain appearances in public. The bitterness in her voice surprised even her. Ava, please. I'll collect some things and go to Maggie's. I need space to think. As she packed a small bag, Alex remained in the kitchen, respecting her need for distance. When she emerged, he stood but didn't approach. I never meant to hurt you, he said. Everything else might have started under false pretenses, but what grew between us, that was real for me. Ava paused at the elevator. The problem is, I don't know what's real anymore. Maggie welcomed Ava with no questions, just a strong cup of tea and a spare bedroom. Only after Ava had stopped crying did her friend gently probe for details. So coffee guy is actually tech mogul guy? Maggie summarized after hearing the full story. And he funded your business without telling you? He manipulated my entire life, Ava said, clutching her mug. Made me believe I was succeeding on my own when really he was pulling strings behind the scenes. Did he actually say your designs weren't good? Maggie asked pragmatically. Or that customers don't genuinely like them? No, but then maybe he just removed barriers. Talent needs opportunity, honey. He gave you that. By lying to me for months. By creating a fake marriage to protect his image. Maggie leaned back, considering. Not defending his methods, but ask yourself, if he'd been honest from the start about who he was, would you have given him a chance? The question haunted Ava over the following days. She threw herself into work, personally handling green thread orders and communications, scrutinizing every interaction for signs of Alex's invisible hand. She ignored his messages and calls, needing clarity before confronting him again. 1 week into their separation, a package arrived at Maggie's apartment. Ava's original sketchbooks and design journals from the penthouse, along with a note. These belong with you, regardless of what you decide about us. No grand gestures, no manipulation, just returning what was hers. That evening, Ava finally opened the financial documents she'd taken from Alex's office. Reading carefully now, without emotion clouding her judgment, she noticed details she'd missed before. Yes, Alex had invested significantly in green thread, but the business plans had been built around her original concepts. The marketing emphasized her sustainable vision and unique designs. Orders had come through legitimate channels. Alex had made introductions, but store owners had selected her work based on its merits. He hadn't created her success. He'd simply removed the obstacles that might have delayed it. 2 weeks after leaving the penthouse, Ava received an email from Jessica Thompson, Chief Operations Officer at Hayes Technologies. Ms. Summers, I'm reaching out independently of Alex, who doesn't know about this communication. Our CEO has taken indefinite leave again and asked the board not to contact him about routine matters. I've known Alex for 15 years and have never seen him like this. Whatever happened between you two, please know that, in my experience, Alex Hayes is the most genuine person in this industry. His public reticence comes from being used too many times by people who valued his resources over his humanity. Before you make any final decisions, I thought you should have another perspective. The email included links to articles about Alex's philanthropy, all done anonymously until journalists exposed his involvement. Educational programs in underserved communities, medical research funding, sustainable technology initiatives, none of it publicized by Alex himself. That night, unable to sleep, Ava Googled Alexander Hayes for the first time, something she'd intentionally avoided since learning his identity. She found images of him at industry events looking uncomfortable in the spotlight. Articles described him as pathologically private and more interested in innovation than accolades. Former employees called him brilliant but intensely reserved. Everything matched the Alex she knew, just on a much larger scale. 3 weeks after their separation, Ava returned to the penthouse. She texted first, not wanting to arrive unannounced. Alex opened the door looking tired, his usual precision replaced by rumpled clothes and stubbled cheeks. "Thank you for coming," he said simply, leading her to the living room where tea waited. The space felt different somehow, more lived in, less perfect. Books lay open on tables. A half-finished mug of coffee sat abandoned on a counter. It looked like a home rather than a showcase. "I've been thinking about what happened," Ava began carefully, "about why you did what you did. And I understand your reasons, even if I don't agree with your methods. Trust has been a struggle for both of us." Alex nodded. "I should have been honest with you from the beginning. My fear of rejection doesn't justify deceiving you." "No, it doesn't," she agreed. "But I've been asking myself, what would I have done in your position? If everyone wanted something from me instead of genuinely caring about me?" "That doesn't excuse." "Let me finish," she interrupted gently. "I'm still angry that you manipulated situations instead of trusting me with the truth. But I also recognize that the person I got to know over these months, the man who listens when I talk about design challenges, who remembers how I take my tea, who never made me feel small for my dreams, that person is real. The wealth doesn't change that. Alex's expression softened with cautious hope. What are you saying? I'm saying I need complete honesty going forward. No more secrets, no more managing situations behind my back. If we have any chance of building something genuine, it has to start with truth. Anything you want to know, just ask. I'm an open book. Ava took a deep breath. Let's start with the business. I can't accept your investment if it was made out of guilt or obligation. It wasn't, he said firmly. I invested in Greenthread because it's brilliant. Your designs solve real problems in sustainable fashion. The market potential is enormous. Yes, I wanted to help you, but I never would have invested millions in a concept I didn't believe in. I need to succeed or fail on my own merits. You already are. I opened doors, but you walked through them with your talent. The business is yours. I'll remove my involvement if that's what you want. Ava considered this. No, but I want everything transparent going forward. No shadow investments, no pulled strings. If you believe in my vision, be an open partner in it. Done, he agreed without hesitation. They talked for hours, clearing away the debris of misunderstandings and half-truths. Alex shared details of his childhood with demanding parents who valued achievement above happiness. Ava revealed her deepest fears about being fundamentally unlovable. They discussed what they wanted individually and together. As evening fell, casting long shadows across the penthouse, Ava asked the question that had been hovering between them. Where do we go from here? Our marriage was a business arrangement based on misconceptions. We could end it, Alex suggested carefully. Start fresh with complete honesty. Date properly like we should have from the beginning. Or we could consider that while our beginning was flawed, what grew between us was real. We could choose to build on that foundation with truth this time. Ava studied his face, seeing past the wealth and status to the man she'd come to care for despite everything. I'm not ready to walk away, she admitted, but I'm not ready to fully trust again either. Then we take it day by day, he proposed. No pressure, no expectations. Just two people learning to trust each other. As she considered his words, Ava realized something profound. The pain of Ryan's betrayal had dulled. The mockery of Pine Creek no longer stung. Somewhere in this complicated journey with Alex, she had reclaimed her sense of worth. Whatever happened next, she would face it with newfound strength. Day by day, she agreed, reaching for his hand across the space between them. Starting today. The path to rebuilding trust proved neither quick nor easy. Ava and Alex agreed to temporary separation, not of hearts but of finances. She moved into her own apartment, smaller than the penthouse but entirely hers, paid for with Greenthread's growing profits. The distance gave her space to reflect while ensuring their reconciliation came from genuine emotion rather than convenience. I need to know I'm choosing you, not your resources, she explained as Alex helped carry the last box into her new place. And you need to know I'm here because I care about you, not what you can provide. For 3 months, they dated like any normal couple. Coffee at neighborhood cafes, movies at local theaters, weekend hiking in nearby state parks. Ava insisted they split costs proportionally to their incomes, a gesture that made Alex laugh. That means I pay for 99.9% and you cover 0.1%, he pointed out. Then we'll do free activities, she countered. The point is establishing a relationship based on equality, not transaction. These months brought challenges as Alex's public identity intersected with their private lives. The first time paparazzi photographed them leaving a restaurant, Ava froze in panic. The subsequent headlines, Tech Billionaire's Mystery Woman, and Hayes Steps Out with Fashion Designer, left her feeling exposed. This is what it means to be with me? Alex said apologetically as they discussed the photos over breakfast. I've tried to maintain privacy, but it's part of the reality. Does it ever get easier? She asked. You develop thicker skin, and eventually, they lose interest when they realize you're not giving them drama to report. Gradually, Ava adjusted to occasional public recognition. She developed standard replies to intrusive questions and learned to distinguish between genuine interest in her work and attempts to extract gossip about Alex. When Greenthread secured its first major department store contract, she insisted on handling the negotiations herself, with Alex available for advice but never intervention. They need to see me as a businesswoman in my own right, she explained, not as an extension of Hayes Technologies. Alex respected her boundaries, offering support without overstepping. He attended her first major fashion showcase as Ava's guest, standing proudly in the audience rather than using his influence to command attention. When industry publications began recognizing Greenthread's innovative approach to sustainable fashion, he made sure the spotlight remained firmly on Ava's vision and execution. "This is all you," he told her after a particularly glowing review in a prestigious magazine. "I may have provided initial capital, but the creative genius is entirely yours." For his part, Alex worked to dismantle the walls he'd built around himself. He introduced Ava to his small circle of trusted friends, people who knew the man behind the billions and treated him accordingly. He shared stories of failed projects and personal disappointments, allowing her to see his vulnerabilities rather than just his strengths. Most significantly, he began therapy to address the trust issues rooted in his past. "I've spent years assuming everyone wants something from me," he admitted after one session. "It's exhausting and unfair. To me and to anyone who genuinely cares." 6 months after their reconciliation, they faced their first public test when they attended the annual Hayes Technologies Gala as an openly acknowledged couple. The event, which had catalyzed their original conflict, now served as a marker of how far they'd come. "Ready?" Alex asked as their car approached the venue. Ava squeezed his hand. "No more pretending, just us as we really are." Inside, they moved through the crowd with confidence born of honesty. Ava, now recognized in her own right as an up-and-coming designer, fielded questions about sustainability in fashion while Alex discussed company innovations. They separated and reconnected throughout the evening, secure in both their individual identities and their partnership. "They're watching us," Ava noted, noticing curious glances from across the room. "They always will," Alex replied. "The question is whether we're living for their approval or our truth." Their relationship deepened through shared challenges. When Alex's father suffered a heart attack, Ava accompanied him to Boston, witnessing the complicated dynamics of the Hayes family firsthand. The perfectionist patriarch, even from his hospital bed, critiqued his son's business decisions and questioned the viability of Ava's little clothing project. "He's always been like this," Alex explained later in the quiet of their hotel room. "Nothing is ever good enough." "Now I understand why you work so hard to prove yourself," Ava observed gently. During the 2 weeks they remained in Boston, Ava developed a surprising rapport with Alex's mother, a reserved woman who, beneath her polished exterior, harbored creative aspirations she'd set aside for family obligations. "I painted before I married," Mrs. Hayes confided, showing Ava watercolors hidden in a portfolio in her study. "Sometimes I wonder who I might have become if I'd pursued it." "It's never too late," Ava encouraged. Their return to Chicago brought professional challenges. A major investor questioned Greenthread's production timeline, threatening to withdraw support. Rather than panicking or turning to Alex for rescue, Ava called an emergency meeting with her small team. "We need solutions, not excuses," she told them, channeling a confidence she'd once only pretended to feel. Through late nights and collective problem-solving, they restructured the production schedule without compromising quality. When the investor expressed satisfaction with the revised plan, the victory belonged entirely to Ava and her team. "I would have intervened," Alex admitted when she shared the outcome. "Pulled strings, made calls." "I know," she acknowledged. "Thank you for letting me handle it my way." For Alex, the greatest challenge came when a tech magazine published an in-depth profile examining his relationship with Ava, including speculation about their brief separation and reconciliation. The piece questioned whether the publicity-shy tech genius had changed his ways for love, or whether the relationship was a calculated move to humanize his image. "Does it bother you?" Ava asked, finding him staring at the article late one night. "Not for myself," he replied. "I've had worse written about me, but I hate that they're scrutinizing you, questioning your motives. Their opinions don't define us," she reminded him, echoing words he'd once spoken to her. The true test of their growth came 9 months into their reconciliation when Greenthread faced a manufacturing crisis. A key supplier abruptly closed, leaving Ava's largest order to date in jeopardy. The financial implications threatened everything she'd built. Alex learned of the situation not from Ava but from an industry contact. Instead of stepping in with solutions, he waited for her to come to him, respecting her independence while remaining available for support. When she finally called, voice tight with stress, his response surprised her. "What do you need from me?" he asked simply. "Just a sounding board," she replied. "I think I know what to do, but I'm second-guessing myself." They talked for hours, Alex listening as Ava worked through potential solutions. He offered perspective when asked but never dictated action. By morning, She had developed a viable contingency plan involving local artisans and a revised production schedule. "You could have solved this with one phone call," she noted as dawn broke. "But then it wouldn't be your solution," he pointed out. "And you found a better approach than I would have considered." The crisis became an opportunity. Ava's partnership with local craftspeople generated positive press about Greenthread's commitment to community. The resulting collection sold out within days of release, establishing her brand firmly in the sustainable luxury market. At the one-year mark of their reconciliation, they made two significant decisions. First, they legally dissolved their marriage of convenience, acknowledging its inauthentic foundation. Second, they moved into a new home together, neither his penthouse nor her apartment, but a place chosen together that reflected both their personalities. "A fresh start," Alex said as they unpacked boxes in the sun-filled loft overlooking the river. "Built on truth this time." 18 months after the confrontation that nearly ended their relationship, Ava stood nervously backstage at Chicago Fashion Week. Greenthread had secured a coveted slot in the lineup, recognition of the brand's growing influence in sustainable fashion. Models prepared to showcase her latest collection, inspired by themes of resilience and transformation. 5 minutes to showtime, a coordinator announced. Ava's phone buzzed with a message from Alex. "Whatever happens, remember this moment. You've earned it through your talent alone." The reminder steadied her. This opportunity had come through legitimate industry channels, with no intervention from Alex. Greenthread had grown into a respected name in sustainable fashion based on its innovative designs and ethical practices. While still modest compared to industry giants, the brand's steady growth validated Ava's vision. As music filled the venue and the first model stepped onto the runway, Ava glimpsed Alex in the audience. Not in the VIP section where his status could have placed him, but seated alongside Maggie and other supporters who had believed in her from the beginning. The collection received enthusiastic applause. When Ava took her brief bow at the show's conclusion, the genuine pride in Alex's eyes meant more than the approval of critics and influencers combined. At the after-party, a prominent fashion editor approached them. "Ms. Summers, your work shows remarkable maturity for such a young brand," she commented. "And Mr. Hayes, how does it feel watching your partner's success?" "Like witnessing something extraordinary," he replied without hesitation. "Ava's vision and determination created this. I'm just fortunate to be alongside her for the journey." Later that night, alone in their loft, Alex presented Ava with a small box. "This isn't what you might think," he clarified as she hesitated to open it. "We've done things backward once already." Inside lay a simple key. "What's this for?" she asked. "A studio space," he explained. "Not a gift, an investment opportunity. Greenthread needs room to grow, and there's a building available in the Arts District. The owners are looking for partners who share their commitment to sustainable urban development." Ava examined the key thoughtfully. "A legitimate business proposition?" "Completely. All the financial details are in a folder on your desk for your review. Your business manager should evaluate it thoroughly before you decide." The gesture embodied how far they'd come. Alex offering opportunity without manipulation, Ava considering it without suspicion. Their relationship had evolved into a partnership of equals, each respecting the other's independence while supporting their shared journey. 2 years after their reconciliation, Alex proposed, properly this time with no hidden agendas or practical arrangements. They were married in a small ceremony by the lake, surrounded by friends who had witnessed their complicated path to authentic love. "The first time we did this, we were strangers playing roles," Alex said in his vows. "Today, I choose you knowing exactly who you are, brilliant, determined, compassionate, and stronger than you realize. I promise honesty in all things, respect for your independence, and partnership in whatever challenges we face." Ava's vows acknowledged their unconventional beginning. "We started with a practical arrangement that neither of us expected to become real. Through hurt, forgiveness, and conscious choice, we built something genuine. I promise to remember that love thrives in truth, even when that truth is difficult. I choose you not for what you can provide, but for who you are when all the external trappings fall away." Their journey from convenient arrangement to authentic partnership taught them, and those who knew their story, several profound lessons. True worth cannot be measured by external validation or material success, but by the courage to remain authentic despite judgment. Trust, once broken, can be rebuilt, but only through consistent honesty and respect for boundaries. Love flourishes not in grand gestures or perfect circumstances, but in the daily choice to see and honor another's authentic self. Most importantly, They learned that transformation is possible when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to acknowledge our mistakes, and to grow through challenges rather than around them. As Ava and Alex built their life together, they carried these lessons forward. Two people who had found each other at their lowest points and chosen to rise together, stronger for having faced the truth about themselves and each other. The sun streamed through wide windows of the converted warehouse that now served as GreenThread's headquarters. Ava moved through the open workspace, pausing to examine fabric samples and review designs with her team of 15 employees. What had begun as a dream sketched in a cafe now flourished as one of the most respected sustainable fashion brands in the industry. In the corner office, a framed magazine cover hung beside Ava's original sketches, Fashion's Forward Thinker, How Ava Hayes Revolutionized Sustainable Luxury. The article had highlighted GreenThread's innovative approach to ethical manufacturing and Ava's journey from small-town boutique manager to industry pioneer. "Ready for the presentation?" Alex asked, appearing in the doorway. Though still involved with Hayes Technologies as chairman of the board, he had scaled back his role to focus on their joint sustainability foundation, which provided grants to eco-conscious startups. "As ready as I'll ever be," Ava replied, gathering her materials for their meeting with a major department store chain interested in creating dedicated GreenThread sections nationwide. They walked together to the conference room, their easy synchronization reflecting years of genuine partnership. The journey hadn't always been smooth. They'd weathered business setbacks, public scrutiny, and the normal challenges of marriage, but each obstacle had strengthened rather than weakened their bond. After the successful presentation, they strolled along the Chicago riverfront, taking a rare moment of calm in their busy lives. "Did you ever imagine we'd end up here?" Ava asked, watching boats glide past. "5 years ago, I was serving coffee and hiding from my past. And I was hiding from myself," Alex added, squeezing her hand, "afraid to let anyone see beyond the wealth and success. We've come a long way." That evening, they hosted dinner for a group that reflected their journey. Maggie from the cafe, now GreenThread's operations manager, Jessica, who had become a close friend after leaving Hayes Technologies, and 3 young designers who had received mentorship through their foundation. As conversations flowed around the table, Ava observed the scene with quiet gratitude. Their home, a renovated artist's loft filled with locally crafted furniture and artwork from emerging creators, embodied their shared values of authenticity and conscious living. Later, after their guests departed, they settled on their balcony overlooking the city lights. "I received a letter from Pine Creek today," Ava said, breaking their comfortable silence. "The community center wants me to speak at their women's empowerment event." "How do you feel about returning?" Alex asked, knowing the complicated emotions her hometown still evoked. "Ready, I think. Not to prove anything, but to share what I've learned. That other people's judgment doesn't define your worth. That failure can become a foundation for something genuine and beautiful. The strongest lessons often come from our greatest challenges," Alex observed. As they looked out at the glittering skyline, their intertwined hands formed a physical manifestation of the truth they had discovered together. Authentic love doesn't emerge from perfect circumstances or fairy tale beginnings, but from the willingness to see each other clearly, flaws, fears, and all, and choose each other anyway. This was the real miracle of their journey. Not the wealth, success, or public recognition, but the courage to build a life based on truth after beginning with deception. In finding each other, they had also found themselves. What can we learn from Ava and Alex's journey? Their story reminds us of several powerful truths worth remembering in our own lives. First, our worth isn't determined by others' opinions. When Ava left Pine Creek, she carried the weight of judgment and mockery on her shoulders. Her community had decided her value had diminished because of her failed marriage. How many of us live constrained by similar judgments, from family members who dismiss our dreams, colleagues who underestimate our abilities, or friends who define us by our past mistakes? Ava's transformation began when she recognized that those voices held power only if she allowed them to. Second, honesty creates the only foundation strong enough for lasting connection. Alex's deception, however well-intentioned, nearly destroyed what could have been. His fear of rejection led him to control circumstances rather than trust in authentic connection. How often do we present carefully curated versions of ourselves, hiding vulnerabilities behind masks of competence or detachment? True intimacy can only flourish in the soil of complete transparency. Third, genuine success comes from alignment with our authentic selves. GreenThread prospered not because of Alex's financial backing, but because it represented Ava's true passion and values. When we pursue paths that honor our deepest truths rather than external expectations, we unlock creative energy and resilience that sustain us through challenges. Fourth, resilience isn't about avoiding falls but learning to rise again. Both Ava and Alex experienced profound betrayals that could have left them permanently guarded and isolated. Instead, they chose the harder path of remaining open to possibility despite past wounds. Our capacity to heal and grow isn't measured by how we avoid pain, but by how we respond when it finds us. Finally, transformation rarely follows a straight line. Ava and Alex's path included missteps, conflicts, and necessary separations. Real change often requires cycles of progress and setback, reflection and action. The journey toward our best selves isn't a smooth ascent but a winding path with unexpected turns and occasional retreats. Their story speaks to anyone who has ever felt judged unfairly, feared being valued only for what they could provide, or struggled to trust after betrayal. It reminds us that new beginnings often hide within what appears to be devastating endings. As you reflect on your own journey, consider, where might you be giving others' opinions too much power over your self-worth? What masks might you be wearing that prevent authentic connection? What dreams have you set aside that deserve reconsideration? How might your past challenges be preparing you for unexpected possibilities ahead? Remember that your value isn't diminished by others' failure to recognize it. Your capacity for growth isn't limited by past mistakes, and your future isn't determined by where you've been, only by the courage with which you move forward. Like Ava and Alex, your most authentic chapter may be waiting just beyond your greatest challenge, if you're brave enough to turn the page.